Okay, so let's proceed with where we had left off. So we are doing bivariate random variables. Rather, our aim is to deal with multiple random variables. But if we establish all the properties for bivariate random variables, that is two random variables, the same can be extended and the same is applicable to multiple random variables as well. Right? So we've seen the CDF, PDF expectations. We've seen how we can transform random variables from one form to the other. That is, if two random variables x and y are given, we can very easily transform them into let's say u and v are related to x and y, right? And we have solved numericals based on that. In the previous lecture, we discussed a very important concept in communication engineering. Specifically, the use of this is in communication engineering, and it deals with independent and identically distributed random variables. So most of the details which you will encounter in communication engineering henceforth, that is in this semester and in the later semesters, will all be IID random variables. That is, they will be independent and they will be identically distributed. So as you can see on the screen, we derived and established what will happen to the expectations and uh, that is the mean and the variance for such random variables which are identically and independently distributed. Right. So we just found out that if you have the mean as mu x and variance as sigma x square, for n times it will just be n into mu x and n into sigma x square. Right. So it just turns out to be a very simple formula. However, we should keep in mind this is only applicable if the random variables are independent and identically distributed. Right? So with this, we discussed a very important theorem known as the central limit theorem. Okay, again, its application is when you deal with details of basically central limit theorem states that once you perform an experiment or if the random variable is a very large in number, then all of that converges into a Gaussian PDF. Right? And I gave you an example of this. It is mostly used for population measurement, especially for a very populated country like India. So the PDF is a bell curve, as you can see on the screen, and the PDF we have already discussed. It relates the standard deviation with the mean value. And here, if you put the mean as 0 and standard deviation and variance as 1, we get what is known as the normal distribution. So we have n of 0, 1. So I'm writing it here. This is known as the normal distribution. Okay. So for this kind of a distribution, we saw the mean value and the variance value, and again it turns out to be a very simple formula. It just becomes at the averages. What will happen to the averages? So it is just the basic average which we always uh, evaluate. So if you have 20 students and you take their marks, you add them and then divide by 20. That's exactly what we do with the averages as well. Right? Then we saw the mean and the variance, and we solved some numerical based on that. Okay. So this is got us to a stage where about Gaussian PDF. It has many applications, the Gaussian PDF. Okay, so in the syllabus, we do not have much of its application. Okay, when you deal with a subject like digital communication, there you must be told about the Gaussian distribution and its use. Okay. However, as the central limit theorem has told us, all the experiments, all the PDFs, if you perform the experiments for a very long time, or if the random variables are very large in number, they all converge to a Gaussian PDF. Right? So therefore, this Gaussian distribution becomes a very important factor for us, right? And we must know what happens when the random variables are Gaussian distributed. Right? So here we are going to pay attention to Gaussian bivariate random variables. Right? That means the two random variables are Gaussian distributed. Okay? So let us assume that we have two random variables, say Z1 and Z2. Right? You can take any random variable. I have taken Z1 and Z2, and these are valid as that. Z1 is between Z1 is less than infinity, and also Z2 is less than infinity. So if we look at the normalized Gaussian bivariate distribution, if we take the normalized Gaussian bivariate PDF. So here you understand that the two random variables are bivariates, right? I mean, the two random variables are Gaussian distributed, right? So if we take this into consideration, then f of z1, z2, right? And then you have z1 comma z2. So you can see, for your understanding, I have written z in two different formats. So the z1, z2 at the bottom is the PDF, whereas these values z1 and z2 here are the actual values of the random variable, right? So you'll have 1 by 2 pi 1 minus sigma square z, and exponent of minus z1 square minus 2 rho z, z1 z2 plus z2 square into 1 by 2 into 1 minus rho z square. Okay. So I'm not derived this. Okay. I'm not derived this. I've only written this. We are more interested in understanding what exactly this means. Okay. There is derivation for this normalized Gaussian bivariate, but we are more interested in understanding what the idea is. This rho z, this is the correlation between the two random variables. This is the correlation between the two random variables, and also and also and also this rho, as we have already found out, that is rho z1 z2 of z1 comma z2. Here there is a change. It will always be greater than or equal to 0 for z1 less than infinity, z2 less than infinity, right? Usually this correlation coefficient, as we have seen, is between -1 and +1, but for the case of bivariate Gaussian random variables, this is always going to be greater than 0. And the reason for this is that the Gaussian PDF has e raised to minus x minus m the whole square. So the whole square really makes it a positive value. Okay, so that's a change. So I'm going to put a star out here. Okay. So now here, if we want to calculate the total volume, we already know that the total volume for any PDF is always going to be equal to 1. But if we want to calculate the total volume of this bivariate Gaussian random variables, right? So this will be nothing but a double integral, right? Why a double integral? Because you're calculating the volume and you have two PDFs. So you'll have f of z1, z2 into z1, z2. These are the values of the PDF, and you have dz1 and dz2, right? dz1 and dz2 will be your variables for integration, right? Therefore, this will just be equal to, right? If I want to calculate this value, right, it will just be equal to minus infinity to plus infinity f of z1 of z1 dz1, right? Or I can also write this as minus infinity to plus infinity f of z2 of z2 dz2. The reason why I can write them as equal is because they are Gaussian random variable, they are independent and they are identically distributed. And once you find the integral of this will always turn out to be 1, right? So the total volume between any PDF, also in the case of Gaussian random variables, is always going to be 1, right? So this becomes a very important result for us. Okay. the derivation of each of this PDF turning out to be 1 was done in module 1. Okay, was done in module 1. So you can see how we can find that equation to be equal to 1. Okay. So just a quick check, are you able to see the screen?
No, sir.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll reshare it, unshare and reshare again. Okay. And I hope I am audible properly. There's some background noise. Okay, I hope that screen is visible now.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I was telling you, that integral turning out to be 1, that derivation was done in module 1. Okay. The next point we want for the Gaussian bivariate distributions is correlation. Always keep in mind, not just from an exam point of view, in general, whenever you talk about multiple random variables, your aim is always to find the correlation. Always to find the correlation between the two random variables. Okay? That is how these two random variables impact each other. Okay? If you do not want the correlation, you need to go for bivariate. Okay? Only when so to find this correlation between this Gaussian random variable, we'll find the expectation. So you will have expectation of z1, z2, and this is nothing but a double integral from minus to plus infinity z1, z2, f z1, z2 of z1 comma z2 dz1 dz. Right? So the expectation is x fx of x. They've just enhanced it to a double integral with two values z1 and z2, right? And here rho of z, as we have just discussed, will be less than 1, right? So it will always be a positive value, right? Therefore, this covariance of z1 z2, which we have already derived, is E of z1 z2 minus mu z1 mu z2, which is E of Z done in the IID case, right? That covariance Z1, Z2 will be equal to expectation Z1, Z2. Therefore, from here, if you want to find the correlation coefficient rho Z, this will be covariance Z1, Z2 divided by sigma Z1 into sigma Z2. Therefore, this will be expectation of Z1, Z2 divided by rho Z1 into rho Z2. A normally distributed Gaussian variable n of 0 comma 1, then in that case sigma z1 and sigma z2 are 0. Therefore rho z will just be covariance of z1 comma z, right? Because I'll write it here, rho z1 equal to rho z2 is equal to that is only Gaussian random. Okay. So that is how we reach and the covariant. So this is the second point which I wanted to discuss for in relation to bivariate Gaussian random variable. In your syllabus, you do not have much detail about this, but the entire communication engineering is based only on Gaussian variables. Okay, so these the with correlation. So when we are talking about variables in general, we always said that independence may or may not imply uncorrelation, but uncorrelation always, right? But let us try to see what happens in the case of Gaussian random variable, and this will really tell you why we are discussing in detail about Gaussian random variable. Because Gaussian variable, for a Gaussian random variable, uncorrelation implies independence, and also the opposite is, that is, independence implies
Your voice is not clear, so it's breaking.
therefore we can say independent. Now is it okay, or is it still breaking? Is it okay now, or still breaking?
Okay.
Now is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if the audio breaks. Okay. For this Gaussian random variable, uncorrelation also implies independence, and independence also implies uncorrelation, right? So basically what this means is mathematically, if you take f z1 z2 of z1 comma z2, right? Since they are independent and uncorrelated, this will be nothing but f z1 of z1 into f z2 of z2. That means the PDF, the joint PDF will be the product of the individual PDFs, right? And we know that individual single PDF for any Gaussian random variable is of the form 1 by sigma root 2 by e raised to minus x minus m the whole square, or let me write x minus mu the whole square divided by 2 sigma square, right? However, if this turns out to be a normally distributed Gaussian random variable, then this will be 1 by root 2 pi, because sigma is 1, e raised to minus x square because mu is 0 divided by 2 because sigma square will also be 1, right? So if you multiply these two individual random variables for the Gaussian distributed bivariate random variable, the product will give us the independence or the uncorrelation. Okay, so this is one of the small parts I wanted to discuss in this chapter, in this module. I say small part because in your syllabus they don't take us into the details of Gaussian bivariate random variables. However, in general, digital communication in specific cannot be really understood without the understanding of Gaussian random variables and bivariate random variables. Okay, because the basis of that is we assume that all the signal and the noise whatever comes in is Gaussian distributed, right? Even the noise which we consider in communication engineering is a Gaussian noise. Okay? There are reasons why we do that. The central limit theorem is one of the major reasons. So this is one of the parts in your syllabus. The last part of this module deals with different types of bivariate random variables, and in the syllabus about 5 of them are mentioned. So in your syllabus about 5 of such random variables are mentioned. So I'll be letting you know a few of these random, all of these random variables in short, and then as we, as you look at the notes, you will be getting more and more details. Okay, so I'll just let you know what is the random variable, what is the PDF, CDF. I will draw it and I will tell you the application. The same can be found on the notes as well. Okay, so after you look at the notes, you will find the same details. Okay. So the first of these random variables, the bivariate random variables, okay, let me write that, is known as the chi-square in bracket, the symbol chi-square random variable. This is the first bivariate random variable which is mentioned in your syllabus. So this is defined as, let v, we're calling the random variable v, the chi-square random variable. So it is defined as v equal to sigma I equal to 1 to r of z I square. Here z is a normalized Gaussian random variable. Z is the normalized Gaussian random variable. So I'm assuming you're sitting with a pen and paper. Okay. So you can note this down, and next I will write the PDF of chi-square random variable. So in the model question paper, both the model question papers, they have asked, I think, a 6-mark question of different random variables. Okay, so you can just note this down, and then I will give you the PDF of this random variable. Okay, so I hope you have written that chi-square random variable. Now I'll give you the PDF of this random variable. We do not have the derivation of the PDF. We only need to mention what the PDF is, right? So FV of V will be 1 divided by tau r by 2, 2 raised to r by 2, V of r by 2 minus 1, e raised to minus b by 2, and all of this is for v greater than 0. The PDF is 0 for v less than. Okay. So here r, this r is a gamma function. Since we do not have the details of this in the syllabus, I cannot really explain what this gamma function is, but I can, with the help of a graph, you will be able to see what this gamma function is, or the PDF is, right? So FV of V, and if you have these values of V, then for various values of R, we get different types of graphs. So for example, so you get a graph like this. And these are for different values of r. So r equal to 3, r equal to 5, and this is for r equal to 10. Right? So as you increase the r, then you can see that the graph is decreasing, and then finally the graph will tend to 0. Okay. So the mean value of chi-square is r. The variance value of chi-square is 2r, and its characteristic function phi is 1 minus 2j omega raised to negative r by 2. right? So what is the application? It finds application where you need independent, realization of some random variable. Okay, that is its application. More applications are mentioned in the notes. So the general question which they ask or which is mentioned in the model question paper is also explain the chi-square random variable with applications. Okay. So mentioning its PDF, the mean value, variance and characteristic function with a graph and application will be more than enough. Okay. So this is the first random variable which is specified in your syllabus. The second random variable is known as the student's T random variable. Students T random variable, and it is defined as T equal to Z divided by root of V by gamma, right? V by gamma. Here Z is the normalized Gaussian random variable. Normalized Gaussian random variable, and V is the chi-square random. So you can see that the student's T random variable is is an extension of the chi-square random. It's a PDF. Ft of T is T raised to R plus 1 by 2, where R is the gamma function divided by root of pi r tau into r by 2 into 1 plus t square by gamma raised to r plus 1 by 2, right? And all of this is for t less than plus and minus infinity. So we do not really have to derive this PDF, but there are derivations of the PDF in the books which have been shared. But in your syllabus, you do not have this. Based on the applications, we use these random variables. Okay. So there you'll find, if you look on Google, for example, a T table. Okay. In those T tables, you will find the value of the T, which is in the equation. Okay. So its PDF looks like this. It's a bell curve. It looks like this. And these are all the different types for depending on R. So the first one is for R equal to 1, then next is for R equal to 5, and the final one is for R equal to 10. Right? So you can see that as R is increasing, the bell curve also keeps increasing. Right? For this random variable, the mean value is 0. The variance value is r by r minus 2, where r is the gamma function, right? We do not have the characteristic function. It's too complicated to state. It can also always be derived. The application is it is used in any form of statistics. Okay. I've also put more applications in the notes. Okay. So you can look at the notes to see more applications of the students' team. The next one which we have is again an important random variable, but its use depends on the application. So generally, this kind of a random variable, the one that we are going to discuss now, will be used in some part of wireless communication for modeling. So this is the third random variable. It is known as the Cauchy random variable. To model some parts in wireless communication, this kind of a random variable will be used. So this random variable, the Cauchy random variable, this will be generated when you have one zero mean Gaussian random variable and you divide this with another zero mean Gaussian random. So if you specify the Gaussian random variable as W, then you have A dot x by y, where x and y are the Gaussian random variables. So you're dividing them, and A is a constant which is greater than 0. Right? So the PDF of this random variable, FW of W, is A divided by pi W square plus A square, and W is less than infinity and a is greater than 0. Again, we do not have the derivation of the PDF. Okay, from the PDF you can always derive the CDF. Okay, the PDF looks like this. FW of W, and if you have these values of W, it's again a bell curve. Okay. So you can see that all of these random variables which we are discussing have a bell-shaped curve because
So,
all of them come. Yes.
could you please scroll the previous screen, sir?
Previous. No?
Previous page, sir. Page.
Okay. Okay. This one. This one.
Uh, third one, sir.
Okay. Third one. No. One second. Okay. This is the
Yes, sir.
third one, the Cauchy random variable. Yes. Okay. Okay. Don't worry if you miss it. It's there in the notes as well. Okay. So I was just saying that all of these random variables, if you have noticed, they all have a bell shape. Right? The reason is that all these random variables originate from the Gaussian random variable, right? And because of this, the shape of all these random variables will be a bell shape. Okay? So application I've already told you, in some parts of wireless communication, this Cauchy random variable will be used. Okay? So I'm not giving you the mean variance because just giving it doesn't make sense. I think we should derive it, but we don't have that derivation for your syllabus. Okay, so I'll just leave it as the Cauchy random variable here. Okay. I hope you've noted this down. And the fourth
Yes, sir.
random variable. Okay, so I'll just move. This is the last random variable which is mentioned in your syllabus. It is a very important random variable. It is known as the Rayleigh random variable, and the entire wireless communication is based on the Rayleigh random variable. Okay. So uh, you can also use this Rayleigh random variable to model, let's say, electron beams, right? It can also be used for robot positioning on some PC board, right? Astronomy also uses this Rayleigh random variable. There are many uses of this Rayleigh random variable. We'll not get into that. We'll just see the PDF and what this Rayleigh random variable is. Okay. Its use is when you take a course on, let's say, wireless communication, where you have a lot of issues like multipath. To explain it in a layman term, when the signal originates from transmitter, it hits various buildings and trees. So when it reaches the receiver, the signal strength is very, very low. That is known as the multipath issue. And this multipath issue can be modeled using the Rayleigh random variable. So this is one of the applications. Right? So the PDF, I'll just give you the PDF very quickly. Okay. So the PDF of this random variable, we state this as fr of r, where r I'm calling as the Rayleigh random variable. That be some r fxy of x comma y dx dy. Okay, it's a bivariate random variable. So the specific PDF fr of r will be 2r by b. I'll let you know what this r and b is. Exponent of minus r square by b for r greater than 0, and it is 0 for r less than 0. So this r basically is a circle. Okay, I'll not go into that detail. It is basically the radius of a circle. Okay, what that circle is, if I have to explain you, then I have to go into the details. Okay, so this b is just the radius of a circle. Okay, and I'm sorry, the r is just the radius of the circle, and this b is 2 sigma x square, which is greater than 0, where sigma x is the variance value. Okay. So to show you how this Rayleigh random variable looks like, again, it should not be a surprise. It will be a bell curve. Okay, so it looks something like this, but it is always on the positive side. It is always on the positive side. So this starts at 0, goes all the way till infinity. So So this is your FR of R. Okay. So these details are also there in the notes. Okay, you can also look at the notes. Okay. Okay. So I've given you the details of the different random variables which are specified in your syllabus. I've also given you the details of the independent and identically distributed random variables. I've also given you the details of joint probability or joint PDF for these random variables. And then we have solved numericals based on bivariate expectations, that is mean, variance, and PDF and CDF.